The FBI arrested Mohammed Sabri Solomon on Sunday, charging him with a hate crime after 8 Boulder, Colorado protesters marching in solidarity with hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza were injured by Molotov cocktails allegedly thrown by the suspect while he reportedly screamed, "Free Palestine." The FBI says the suspect had prepared 14 more Molotov cocktails that he had planned to throw before he was apprehended. Despite nobody getting killed, the FBI charged Solomon with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Thank you, Kash Patel. Homeland Security saying the suspect is an Egyptian national whose visa expired more than 2 years ago. The New York Times reporting that a spokesperson for Boulder, Colorado Community Health saying some of the 8 victims, 4 women, 4 men, were released from the local hospital while others have been transferred, but their whereabouts being kept secret for security reason. This attack coming after that shooting inside Washington, D.C.'s Jewish Museum on May 21st, leaving 2 dead. The man taken into custody after that shooting was reportedly screaming, "Free Palestine." In April of this year, the Pennsylvania governor's mansion, now home to Jewish Governor Josh Shapiro, was set fire by a man later arrested claiming he did it in support of Palestine. Talks between Hamas and Israel continue but remain stalled. Israel wants the remaining hostages released in exchange for a 60-day ceasefire, while Hamas says the hostages can only be released if Israel agrees to a permanent ceasefire and pulls out of Gaza, allowing humanitarian aid to enter. This stalemate persists partly because Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to eliminate Hamas entirely, something experts say he's unlikely going to be able to do, even though more than 55,000 Palestinians have died in Gaza since fighting began back in October of 2023. Former Biden State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller telling Sky News on Monday that Israel, quote, without a doubt is committing war crimes in Gaza. Miller saying Israel is not committing genocide and that it's an open question as to whether Israel's official policy is to commit these war crimes. But Miller said there are individual instances of behavior on the part of individual Israeli soldiers. Those instances, he said, qualify as war crimes. Didn't say it while he was Biden's State Department spokesperson, saying it now. Megha Vemuri, MIT's 2025 class president, was forbidden from participating in Friday's graduation ceremonies after she gave a speech the day before criticizing Israel's war in Gaza. In her speech, she sported a keffiyeh atop her robe, and Vemuri lashed out at MIT for doing business with Israel, and she praised her fellow graduates for protesting the war in Gaza. MIT accused her of misleading them, not telling university officials that she was going to politicize her speech. And so the next day she was allowed to receive her degree, but was banned from the entire university. She wasn't allowed on the campus during commencement exercises. Vemuri later said, quote, "No need for me to walk across the stage of an institution that is complicit in this genocide," unquote. Senator John McCain's widow, Cindy McCain, heads the United Nations World Food Program. She's a Biden appointee. Cindy McCain now warning the situation in Gaza is about to become a humanitarian crisis unlike the world has ever seen. Al Jazeera reporting that in the past 24 hours, 51 Palestinians have been killed with more than 500 injured as Israel ramps up its ground invasion. Doctors Without Borders saying Israeli soldiers opened fire, killing dozens of Palestinians lining up for food distributed by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation in the southern town of Rafah. CBS News reports 50 Palestinians lining up for humanitarian assistance were killed in central Gaza on Sunday by what Palestinians claim to be an Israeli airstrike. The Israeli government denies they were behind the killings. Ehud Olmert served as Prime Minister of Israel from April of 2006 to March of 2009. At one time, he was a member of Likud, which the current Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, leads. Now, in a new opinion piece entitled "Enough is Enough, Israel is Committing War Crimes," he wrote it for the Israeli newspaper Haaretz. The former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert accuses Benjamin Netanyahu and his war cabinet of being, quote, a bunch of thugs committing war crimes. Olmert accusing the Netanyahu government of planning to wipe out the entire Palestinian population in Gaza through mass starvation. This, as the Israeli Prime Minister talks openly of permanently removing the 2.5 million Palestinians living in Gaza, removing them from their homes, either placing them in southern Gaza permanently or forcing them to leave Gaza altogether. Back in May, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu literally said Palestinians living in northern and central Gaza have to be relocated to southern Gaza in order to keep them safe. Where have I heard that before? We have to relocate the Palestinians from northern and central Gaza and place them in southern Gaza in order to keep them safe. I don't remember where I heard that before. Netanyahu denies he intends to remove the entire population of Palestinians from Gaza. But this year, Donald Trump repeatedly calls for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. He said it during a visit. Benjamin Netanyahu was visiting this year. Trump repeatedly, during the visit, during a press conference, called for the ethnic cleansing of Gaza. He said, move them all out and replace them with luxury resorts that rival the Riviera, unquote. That's what Trump keeps saying. Meanwhile, Netanyahu insisting it's not Israel's official policy to remove all the Palestinians living in Gaza. It is, however, the official policy of his national security minister, Gvir, who has repeatedly called for the relocation of Gaza's entire population. He occasionally couches it with terms like voluntary emigration or relocation or encouragement of departure. Well, where would they go? Despite Egypt insisting it won't accept the Palestinians, these hard-right Israelis and Donald Trump saying the Palestinians should be moved into Egypt's Sinai Desert. Donald Trump suggesting Jordan would be a good place to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Send them to Jordan, he said. This is ethnic cleansing. It is a war crime. It is a war crime. And our president is openly suggesting repeatedly that Benjamin Netanyahu should ethnically cleanse Gaza of 2.5 million Palestinians and turn it into the Riviera.